You've got it tuned to the Midday Show at listener-powered radio, 90.3 FM in Seattle, online round the world at KEXP.org. And we are so happy to have Richard Buckner live in studio today. I think it's fair to say that you are beloved to both our DJs and our listeners.
God. Wow, I should move here then. I need more of that.
Well, there was a time that you were living in this area.
Bellingham for a little while, yeah.
Long time ago.
A long time ago.
Am I remembering correctly that you wrote Bloomed? When
I just recorded Bloom, but I wrote my second record in the cabin. I was living up there in Bellingham. I wrote the whole record up there.
Well, once a local, always a local.
That's right. Thanks. Good. I'm glad I'm honorary.
You're always welcome here. And we're not the only ones who love you. You have a huge fan base. We're so excited that you're here today to play some songs. Want to start us off with one?
Yeah. This is called Cut. Cut to leave the weeds inside. A storm that keeps the breeze alive. Pretty good at saying no, but taking when the first to go. Calling from the other side. Dying for an open line with only strangers in the end, waking up at home instead, where the night had gone, staying out to get it wrong. Breaking somewhere way back when they thought they'd make it in again. You shivered as they brought you out, long enough to come around to another time that wouldn't be, knowing when you couldn't believe what they were going on about, to pull you back and let you down.
It's Richard Buckner live on KEXP, and that's a song from your new album, right?
Yeah, it's kind of a boppy little number on the record, but with just an acoustic guitarist somehow. So.
And the new album's Surrounded, out on Merge Records. And the album previous to that, you'd taken a bit of a break before, in between releasing that and the one even previous to that. Is because that you were doing other things in life, or were you laboring over the album?
Life was interfering with me, actually. I was on a regular schedule for a while, making records and doing shows, but I just ended up not leaving the house for a while.
And was the process for this record different? I heard you sort of packed up some of the instruments that are in your studio and took a new approach. What was the thinking behind that?
Just to keep myself from going on autopilot as far as working at home. When you work at home, things are around you, and it's very easy when you get an idea to just move ahead with the things you know. But since I was recording in the same place I did my last one, I didn't want to get on that Lazy Susan. So I put things away that I was familiar with and got a few new things that I wasn't as familiar with to create a situation where maybe something would happen that I was less in control of.
A few new things like what?
Things I'd used before but hadn't really explored, like an electronic auto harp, and a few effects pedals that made the auto harp sound different. that created more of a kind of a arpeggiated keyboard rhythm instead of just an acoustic guitar and things like that. Things that I thought would take me in a direction that I couldn't really corral as easy.
How about another song?
Sure. This is kind of an example of that too. On the record, there's kind of a loop and some guitars, and this is just kind of a more finger-picked version of it. It's called Mood. Giving your answer, I think it's fair. Come back even faster. We're getting there. Inside we're saying it's never enough. Instead of breaking off what we've done over, sit up and lie back closer. No one believes we're sold when we're holding arms that were hidden before they were made, finding us missing. While everyone pays the price on, pull up the covers, let's stop. After they've gone, I guess they caught you in the wrong mood. Everything's changing, blossomed and burned, but it's someone we're chasing. I called when I heard how you wrapped in the wasted bounty, in case she'd stayed let in, dressed with fortunes, splitting your favorite portions, laid at your feet with no time. I don't mind.
Richard Buckner live on KEXP, another song from the beautiful album Surrounded that came out last year on Merge Records. It's so fun to have you here in town, and I hear that you are on a house tour.
Yeah, they're called living room shows, and I've had friends recommend this to me for a while, and I decided it was finally time to try it. I kind of a couple years ago put away my amps and pedals and stuff and doing the loops, and just when I play at home, when I practice or when I'm writing, I'm just sitting at the kitchen table with my thumb and an acoustic guitar and usually a couple cats looking at me. And I was thinking, this is the way I naturally play. So I just dropped all that stuff a few years ago and just started not even using picks and just going on the road like this. And it's made the songs different for me, and it's been kind of a nice thing.
It's a beautiful way to see you perform. We've seen you do this many times in studio, and what a treat for your fans to see you do it at these shows. How many have you done so far? Are you far along in this?
This is my first one tonight.
Oh, so I can't really ask you how it feels.
I mean, I'd done a few over the years. I did a nice one out in the East Coast like a couple years ago. But before that, I'd only done one other one like 15 years ago in this screwball situation in Nebraska. And so it kind of scared me off of them. But this is a whole different thing. Yeah.
Some people sort of are shy or, like that barrier of being up on the stage, and they're very sort of maybe introverts, but you seem like a very personable guy. Does it seem, people are going to want to talk to you, and it's sort of a combination, at least the ones I've been to, show and conversation with the artist. Does that part of it kind of excite you?
Not really. I mean, the places I play when I'm not playing living rooms aren't really places where I have that kind of wall. I mean, I did a show 6 months ago where I was playing on a floor mat in a pizza line in Detroit. So this is actually a step up.
Well, how do people find out about these shows?
It's all through the internet, and
I've heard of that.
Yeah, and you put out a thing saying I'm doing a show, or if you want to host a show, let us know what kind of space you have. Then after we find the right places in a routing, we put the word out, and people just buy the tickets online and show up, and they're only told the address after they buy the tickets. They get there, and the host has a little, probably handheld, and says, "Okay, you're in." And I walk in and play, then leave. It's kind of a really easy. There's no bar. There's no, maraca drink mixer going on in the background. No, bachelorette party talking at the bar. It's just somebody's house. It's different.
So are there opportunities for people to sign up for ones coming up along the line here?
Yeah, we just put out this host submissions for April and May, and they'll be around the rest of the country. And so that'll take care of in the few months until the summer comes. And I'm looking forward to it.
All right, so let your fingers do the walk-in and hop on the internet and check into that if you'd like to see Richard.
Interesting situations.
It sounds really fun, and it sounds very apt for what you're doing here and your music.
Yeah, and it's apt actually for the what's going on with a lot of the clubs around the country and the world. I mean, they're changing, and these seem kind of like the right kind of opportunities for people to see music in a real way.
Very nice. How about a couple more songs?
Sure. This is I forget what I said I was going to do. Oh, Surrounded. You just won't lie down. Even closing your eyes, you can't let it go. Surrounded inside. Leave it alone. 'Cause you don't get it back. Undoing the scenes you can't explain. Whatever you dream, that you've buried away. It seems like you're there as someone removed and left in their place with nothing to do. Bound to the switch, railing again at the thought of the fire, for well-earned dissent, undeserved at the time. As you've been shown, the motion is gone, the shade of the night only leading you on.
Richard Buckner's live here in the KEXP studios. Richard, your career has spanned at least a couple of decades, and you've worked with so many of my favorite artists over that time.
Oh, really?
John Langford, some of the members of Giant Sand, John McIntyre.
I'm so lucky to have worked with those people.
They're lucky to have worked with you as well. And I have to mention, I was very excited to hear that you worked with our good friend Tucker Martine.
What a sweetheart.
He really is. And he used to live in Seattle. We lost him to Portland, but he's still close by. But what was that experience like?
You know, he's, of course, somebody I've known his name for a long time. And I needed somebody to take what I'd done at home and take it out of my world and make it their own, put their slant on it. So I heard an interview he'd done a couple years ago, maybe even from here, I forget where he just talked about what he thinks about sound and music, and I loved what he talked about, so I just sent him an email. And I know he's like a big deal, and I only had a few months. I was like, look, I know this is short notice, but can you just do this, make this record better? And I still hadn't met him physically at that point, and he wrote back the nicest thing, and was booked, but set aside time that he set aside for his wife to work on mine, and did a beautiful job. And then I ended up meeting him right before he did it for the first time, and just loved him immediately. What a sweetheart of a guy, and somebody I'd hang out with if I lived in the same area. And that's such a nice thing when there's somebody you respect before you know them, and you meet them, and they're actually really great. Because at live shows, I never go backstage and meet people. Like, I don't want to be disappointed, So but I got lucky this time with Tucker.
That's funny, because knowing the two of you, I sort of assumed you'd known each other for a long time, especially since you had lived here for a while.
I
wish
long ago.
I
could have used him years ago.
Well, you've got years and years ahead to collaborate. Well, we're so delighted to have you here, and if we can squeeze one more song out of you before we go.
Sure. This is called When You Tell Me How It Is. And it was just like that. A crowd broke through somewhere outside. Did they get to you? With their lost advice, you fought to take, at least at last. Will you be okay? Dancing on between the doors and knocking where we've been before. If I let you in and we walk it off, we'll never say where it is we've gone. Amongst our own and another kind, the followed fall for every time. When you appeared, pushed around, staying still, drowning out, space to fill, a place to see, was nowhere near where I thought we'd be. Speak your lines when you talk that way, or hold it down till yesterday.
Richard Buckner live in studio here at KEXP. Surrounded, the new album out on Merge. And is your living room show in Seattle tonight?
Tonight and tomorrow night. Seattle sold out both shows. I'm so happy.
Oh, that's wonderful. And do you even know where it is? They keep it a secret from you till right before?
I just got the addresses yesterday before I left to fly here, so I haven't looked at them. It could be anywhere.
All right. Well, good luck with those. And if you want to see Richard in the upcoming shows, you better jump on that soon. Thank you again so much for stopping by.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You've got to tune to KEXP Seattle.